Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to Mythgard Middle-earth. I am Corey Olsen, the Tolkien Professor, your host as always. And with me, of course, as usual, is Gryfflet. Gryfflet seems to be sitting patiently here at the hearth fire of the Rangers here in Tinadir, hanging out with Calenglad, who's been standing there with a ring above his head for a week. Hey, Gryfflet, how's it going? Good to see you up and at 'em here, friend. Let's, this Middle-earth isn't going to save itself here. All right, Calenglad, let's get back to business here.
How can I be of service?
So we learned about Amarthiel time before last, and we tracked her down to here. Actually, ran into her there in the ruins of Annuminas, and it's interesting how this is sort of retroactively. I see they just lit the fire again. Right, the fire was mysteriously out, but it just got relit. That's nice. That's friendly. Anyway, you come down here. We've spent, of course, a bunch of time in Evendim before, culminating in the tomb of Elendil, not the tomb of Elrond, as I said last time. And anyway, so we spent some time in Evendim when we were on our Silithar hunt earlier on, helping with the reforging of Narsil, but. And of course, we saw lots of Angmarim, and it was, Calenglad and the other Rangers were talking. Of course, they were concerned about the Tomb Raiders, who are just all over the place here in Evendim. But of course, the Angmarim incursion down in Evendim, or in Annuminas, was rather a big deal, right? But of course, now in the epic quest line, although we've encountered them down here before, it's like we're now getting an explanation of that, and I kind of like how that works, right? Like, we're down here, and it's kind of puzzling, right? Why exactly is Annuminas just lousy with Angmarim, right? I mean, is there a particular reason why they have fixated on the ruins of Annuminas? I mean, it's nice. It's a place of great historical significance, but it seems a little odd in some ways. I mean, if they're going to come down into the south and invest themselves in some kind of military target, why not Fornost? Right? It's a much better location, right? The doorstep to the southern world, right through Trestle Bridge and down across into Bree, right? Right there at the end of the Greenway, right, is Fornost, and so you've got this literal highway that goes straight down into the Southlands. So. Whereas Annuminas is down here at the bottom of a lake in the middle of nowhere, it's not anything like a central location. So again, it's kind of curious. And I remember being kind of curious when the very first time I was exploring Evendim, and I was like, I don't get it. Why the Angmarim fixation? Well, the epic quest line then purports to explain it. And I like that. I like that, right? First we perceive the mystery, and maybe we take it for granted and don't think it's especially mysterious. Maybe we notice the mystery and are thinking about it. And now we get the explanation. Actually, Amarthiel sent them here all along and is doing her thing, trying to find Narhuil, which is a ring of power, it turns out, right? Okay, so she's got a Palantir. She is trying to find a ring of power that she had. Now, the ring of power that she had is clearly not one of the great rings. And this is something that is kind of confusing. Remember, Gandalf talks about this in Chapter 2 of the Fellowship of the Ring, that there were many rings that were made in Eregion back in the old days, when the jewel smiths of Eregion were working, and Sauron was, of course, in disguise there with them. They made many rings, right? But the lesser rings, that is, those that are not in the enumerated list, right? Not the 1, the 3, the 7, or the 9. There were other rings other than those that had been made. And Gandalf calls them mere essays in the craft, right? They were just trials, practice runs, as they were figuring out how to do it. Make rings of power, that is. And but Gandalf notes that even those rings were still, to his mind, dangerous for mortals to have or to use. So they're lesser, but remember proportions here, right? All of the great rings are pretty significant. Obviously, the One Ring is very significant, but think about what the other rings of power are capable of, right? Of the four different classes of rings of power, we know least about the dwarven rings, and what kind of potency the dwarven rings had. It is mentioned, Tolkien mentions in the appendices, that each of the great dwarf hordes of old had a golden ring at its center. That is, it apparently gives some kind of ability to generate wealth, attract wealth. Somehow it correlates with getting really, really rich and getting a huge amount of treasure. Apparently, we don't know how exactly, what the mechanism there is, what other kinds of powers, if any, that they had. So we know least, as I said, I think, about the dwarf rings. The rings that the men had, of course, grant this immortality, right? It's a perverted, twisted, horrible kind of immortality, which is more like being undead than like being, continuously alive. But nevertheless, I mean, the fact that it keeps their spirits here and obviously gives them power, right? Again, limitations, and it's awful, and I wouldn't want to be them, but nevertheless, they're very, very strong, and it gives them a lot of power. You think of certainly a ring wraith just compared to a normal guy, right? And there's much power, much potency that has been given to the wraiths. The elven rings, right? The power that is in Rivendell and the power that is in Lothlorien are in large part due to the rings of power. I mean, what is it that makes those places so special? Why is there, why do you have like that sort of peace? And remember the effect of going into Lothlorien and how they feel like no time has passed and they're in this sort of suspended world. That's the power of the ring. Even Frodo suspects that it's the power of the ring and that's at work there. And that's why he blurts that out. When they're talking about how they lost track of time when they were in Lothlorien after they leave, and he's like, slow are the hours there where Galadriel wields the elven ring, and he's almost certainly right that effect, the way in which Lothlorien seems like a pocket of the Elder world, which is sealed away. That's the effect of the Elvish ring, and it would seem almost, I would actually speculate, based on the descriptions that we see, that Galadriel uses her ring more, or does more with her ring, I think, perhaps, than Elrond does. But anyway, both of them, I mean, the fact that Lothlorien and Rivendell are the way that they are is due in large part to the influence of the elven rings of power. Which is why, as I was talking about this at, I think it was it in Film last week? Was talking about this, how like the identity of who has those two elven rings, right? The fact that Elrond and Galadriel wield rings of power has got to be the worst kept secret in Middle Earth at the end of the Third Age. I mean, anyone who knows anything about the rings of power can guess that. But anyway, whatever, it's fine. Gandalf's a secret. Anyway, so. But point is, these rings are huge, right? I mean, they have massive power. So the lesser rings, such as apparently the ring that Amarthiel is going after. Now, how she came upon one of the lesser rings is unknown, right? But we haven't learned anything about that. But apparently that is in fact what's going on. So we'll have to see what more we learn about that and kind of keep that in mind. There was no number given. It seems that Tolkien's own ideas changed about this over time. When he in the first drafts of the story, it kind of seemed like he was imagining like dozens and dozens of these lesser rings kind of floating around in random places. That like the jewel smiths of Eregion had like a little ring of power assembly line going for a while, but then as through his later revisions, Tolkien gives the impression that his conception of the number of rings was shrinking. And by the way, that's a pattern that you can often see. You can see in several different places with Tolkien over time, how he kind of starts off with a bigger spread and a larger cast and more of things, and then kind of focuses it down and narrows it down over time. You can see that manifesting itself in many ways. One obvious example being Balrogs. If you look at the earlier versions of the Silmarillion stories, like the original Fall of Gondolin, there are like hundreds and hundreds of Balrogs, and Tuor himself kills like 60 of them during the battle. So they're are like whole platoons of Balrogs, and they're getting killed all over the place. Later on, he shrinks their number. He doesn't say exactly how many of them there were. But there are obviously many fewer, and they're individually a much, much bigger deal, and their deaths then become much, much more significant than they were there at the beginning. So we can see the same thing seems to be happening with the Rings of Power in his revision process. But anyway, so we have to find out here what Amarthiel's ring is, where she got it, and exactly what she's up to with it. But I guess, didn't she say that it was to find it that she was wanting to use the Palantir, which is, I guess, a pretty good use for the Palantir. So, okay. Anyway, all right. Here, poor Gryfflet has been very patient, standing here next to Calenglad while I talked about Rings of Power. Let's get on with this, Calenglad. What's the next thing we need to do? Okay. Oh yeah, you were angry. Yeah. So we last left with Calenglad cranky, and in the ensuing time since last week, he's clearly feeling some remorse now. No, your anger was unseemly but understandable, Calenglad. It's all right. Don't worry about it. There was wisdom in Lyrdon's words. I get irritated at Lyrdon sometimes too, Calenglad. It's not just you. But you must see the danger of leaving Annuminas to the Angmarim. No, actually, I don't really see why it's... Have you looked at the map, Calenglad? Seriously, I mean, like, Annuminas. If you leave it to them, what are they going to do? Like, it's surrounded by mountains and a lake, right? I mean, if you fortify the passes over here, you're pretty much fine, right? I mean, it's actually kind of a good place to keep them penned in. I mean, I know it's got cultural significance, Calenglad, and I'm not going to convince you that you should just, like, give in and whatever, give up Annuminas. Annuminas being the city of the kings, and the city that Elendil founded. I know it's a big deal, right? And so I get that from a cultural and historical standpoint. But I gotta tell you, from a purely strategic standpoint, I don't really think that ceding Annuminas to them would be like a death stroke to the strategy of the North here. But it's okay, Calenglad. I'll still roll with you here. Okay. If we don't stop Amarthiel's ambitions here, beside Lake Nanuel, she will fortify the old city. So what? Who wants it? It's a ruin, man, and it's an out-of-the-way ruin. Just go around. It's fine, really. Think of the Shire. A short march to the south, right? Or of Trestlebridge to the east. Well, sure. Already beset by orcs out of Angmar. Yeah, right. So as I was saying, fortify the passes, and they're trapped down here, right? I mean, look, Shire's safe. She can't cross over the mountains to get to the Shire, right? She'd have to come through this way or around through the Barrendalf there, which is full of fiery salamanders and stuff, which presumably wouldn't bother Amarthiel. But anyway, I mean, seriously, this is a fairly narrow pass here, right? And here. So just it's actually much easier than having them march down and again, Fornost. If she were to come, if the Angmarim, instead of settling down here in Annuminas, were to cross over into Fornost and join with those orcs coming down out of Angmar, like, then you'd have some serious problems, right? Then you could talk to me about Trestlebridge being in danger and Bree and through the Shire. Frankly, it'd be easier to get at the Shire from with an army that way. But again, Calenglad, not gonna quibble. It's all right. We must turn the tide. Okay, well, I'm all in favor of turning the tide. Totally agree. Before we try to reclaim the Palantir. But no, wait. Okay. Gryfflet is a burglar. Gryfflet would vote for stealing the Palantir before we try to turn the tide of battle in our favor, because turning the tides of battle is not really my strength from a burglarious point of view. But okay, if we keep Amarthiel's attention focused on battles within the city, she will be forced to meet our challenges. If we keep her attention focused on how we're trying to resist her, she will be forced to meet our resistance with force. Wait, how is this a good plan, Calenglad? I am totally not tracking with you here. Shouldn't we try to get her to focus somewhere else so that we can sneak in and get the Palantir? How does that sound? That's a better plan. Isn't that a better plan? Right? So we need some kind of diversion or something. She'll have less time to use the Seeing Stone to find Narcuil. Yeah, she'll be too busy battering us into a bloody pulp to be using the Seeing Stone to find Narcuil. And won't that teach her a lesson? Right? Okay. All right. Your plan is bold, Calenglad. It is. My heart tells me this is right, Gryfflet, but Calenglad, I distrust your heart. I got to tell you, I think you're seeing through some. I don't know what color the Rangers of Tinadir's. Would the store will be offline in 10 minutes? Okay, yeah, no problem. I won't buy anything for 10 minutes. Anyway, so okay, I mean, I don't know what color Rangers' glasses are tinted, the Rangers of Tinadir or anything, but I think you're kind of like, let's seize this opportunity to like step up the resistance and drive the Angmarim out of Annuminas, which is pretty much what you wanted to do anyway. But okay, all right. If you stand with us, speak with Rossaloth in Annuminas, and she will tell you how fares the battle. Pass through Mina Thrunk in front of the city, and you will come to the courtyard of Gwaelbond. Rossaloth will tell you what you can do to help in this fight. Okay, all right. So I got to go down to Annuminas and tell them that I'm in, and we're now going to take this opportunity to do just what Calenglad wants and save Annuminas, because obviously that's clearly the move there. All right, no problem. I'll play along with you, Calenglad. Hey, look. Oh, sorry, I don't want to break any pieces of pottery, because if I did, you might have to find somebody to sort them for you again. Okay. Hey, Natcog, can you take me? Don't, drat. You can't take me. Oh, I don't have the rep, do I? Fine. High King's Crossing, then? How about that? How about the High King's Crossing? That'll save me a little bit of time anyway. Yes, Gryfflet, you just have not taken the time to get good rep standing all the places you need rep standing. So, let's do some lore questions while I wend my long way into Annuminas here. Okay. Got a bunch of different questions here. All right. De Wolfie asks, what's the story behind Forachel and the Losoth? He says, I'm from Finland, and most of the location names and character names are Finnish in Forachel. Yes, absolutely, they are. The reason for that is... here, wait, what's the name of that? Oh, I guess it... Oh, it was by... I needed to go by boat, right? To here? Yeah, I did. That's all right. I'll just go by foot. That way I can answer the lore questions. Okay, so the question I'm going to answer, De Wolfie, and which I'm not 100%, it sounds like this is what you're wanting me to answer, which is, what's up with all the Finnish names in Forachel? And that I can't answer. It's not that either... Okay, it's not that Tolkien was suggesting that the Losoth, as the Losoth are depicted, which is only in that one passage in Appendix A, which tells the story of Arvedui, the Last King, and the loss of the two Palantiri. But anyway, it's not just... that's the only place where the Losoth are mentioned, and I do not believe that Tolkien is sort of suggesting that those people are like, modeled after the Finnish people exactly. What you're seeing there basically is a kind of a sort of homage to the Finnish language, really, that the people at Turbine were really interested to give. Finnish is very important in sort of Tolkien's world and in Tolkien's history, as they know full well, down at Turbine. Finnish, Tolkien loved the Finnish language, and he spent a lot of time sort of thinking about Finnish and working with Finnish, and of course the Finnish is the inspiration for one of his two major languages. Quenya, of course, is in a sense based on Finnish. So when they decided to add Forachel, the Turbine folks basically sort of seized the opportunity to do something, to do a location that was buzzing flies, seriously, to do a location that was based on Finnish. They really wanted to get like the Finnish language in there because they knew it meant so much to Tolkien. So they so that's the whole reason why they went out of their way to do that. It's not, again, it's not that there's like a real historical or geographical link between Finland or the Finnish people and the Losoth of Forakel. It's just, since Tolkien never gave any names, right? I mean, Losoth and Forakel are the only two names that he gave, associated with them at all in any way, so, names of people, names of villages, all those things were a blank slate for the Turbine folk, and so they chose, let's use Finnish, right? Because this is the perfect opportunity, since we have a Nordic people here. Let's take this opportunity to use the Finnish language and get some of that Finnish flavor in the game, which they thought was something that was really kind of appropriate to Tolkien's world, in which they wanted to kind of acknowledge Tolkien's own admiration of Finnish and debt to Finnish. So I think it was a great choice. Sorry, just looking around here. I know I'm not quite there yet, but Annuminas is really lovely. Just looking around a little bit, got the ruins. These places are interesting. See, this, like, you look at this building, right? And you look at this and you say, what is that building, right? So glad the Angmarim are just ignoring me. I don't know what Calenglad is so worried about. These Angmarim seem a peaceful lot. I can't jump up onto that plinth. That's too bad. Anyway, I look at these things, and I ask myself, what did this used to be, right? I mean, like, okay, this is a ruin, but it wasn't always a ruin. Back in the day, right? You're Elendil. You're building Annuminas. What is this building? I mean, it's like this one vaulted hall, a little tower next to it. I mean, from the outside, it looks like a tomb, or maybe like the nave of a small cathedral, church, something, right? But all these buildings can't have been tombs. I mean, this wasn't always a city of the dead, which is kind of what it's like now. Not city of the unquiet dead, mind, but a city of the peacefully dead. I mean, there's something very kind of funerary about Annuminas in game. It's the ancient city of the kings, and okay, so, and there are lots of tombs here, right? That's one of the features of Annuminas is all the tombs, and that the way of kings that we just passed through, and all the tombs, which we just passed by without looking at, because I am so focused, right? I just never get distracted by anything. Don't worry, I'll look at them on the way out. Anyway, point is that they have those, and that makes sense, to have this row of tombs out there like that. Each of the kings to have their, to be built in a tomb, buried in a tomb that was built to house them here in Annuminas. Makes all kinds of sense. But this is the main city, right? I mean, here we are in the outskirts of, like, downtown Annuminas, right? And, like, so what was that? If it's not a tomb and it's not a church, what is it? I mean, blacksmith shop, hotel, hotel. I kind of like that. That could work, right? I mean, is this somebody's house? I guess it could just be somebody's house, but there are no windows, right? I mean, look at this. That's why look. I think that's more than any reason why it looks like a tomb. Since I've concluded that these are not windows, but they seem to be like copper plates from the color. I'm guessing copper. It looks like verdigris, doesn't it? So these are like metallic plates on the outside, and there's a door, right, with ivy growing over it. And I don't really know what this business is up here, these little pointy bits. But they seem to be into pointy bits on top of their buildings, right? You've got the pointy bits on the much longer pointy bits on the towers, and these smaller pointy bits along the top of the buildings, which is That's fine, right? Random arches and cool places. It's all good. But if they lived in there, did they seriously all live in houses without windows? I mean, really, how depressing is that? Right. Hey, everybody. Yeah, we're good. Yeah, the Angmarim aren't bothering me at all. Where am I going? Oh, that's right. Lost my bearings here as I was briefly and uncharacteristically distracted by the... Hey, yeah, this is where... Excuse me, guys. Yeah, you're doing a great job. This is where we fought Amarthiel. Yeah, very bravely. And I totally didn't just let the Rangers do all the work. Okay, let's see. What's going on? Got some expeditionary dudes getting instructions from the hymn chanter, right? Are they learning? Are they like apprentice hymn chanters? Is this guy teaching them how to chant hymns right here? Huh. It's a very very dutiful lesson. Oh, sorry. I thought your tent was like a through tent. I could go out the other side. Sorry, yeah. Sorry, Mr. Hymn Chanter. Not that I'm really sorry, because I'm sure that the hymns you chant are evil hymns to Morgoth, which really shouldn't be chanted by upstanding hobbits, even when dressed as ninjas. More expeditionaries. See, okay. Expeditionaries. That means just like soldier hanging out here in Annuminas, right? So the expeditionaries... Hey, look, somebody who's likely to attack me. The sharp eye, huh? All right, come here, buddy. Oh, yeah? Is that what you think? Okay. I think I can get a lot of you. I guess especially when my faithful stealth healer is helping out. Annuminas will be ours. Okay, but you're an expeditionary. Well, no, you're just a soldier, actually. But the expeditionary... See, to say that someone is an expeditionary means, logically, that they are part of an expedition, right? So if this is an expeditionary force... Hey, there are dead rangers sitting around all over the place. That is seriously rude. Okay. Oh, we're now entering the part of Annuminas that I can't just waltz through, so it's time to stealth myself. Alright. Here's Gwalband. Oh, there's the Archivist. Yeah, he is mean. You don't just mess with librarians. Alright, hey everybody. Yeah, you guys are doing great. I'll just leave you to your standing around bonfires. Oh boy, you've got a name. That can't be good. Elder Angmarim Captain. Ah. Alright, keep up the good work, you guys. I mean, don't keep up the good work, because it's evil work that you guys are doing. So you're on the expeditionary force, which suggests, doesn't it, that they're not really thinking of a permanent occupation? Here we are. Oh, hooray, it's the good guys. Hey, Dunedain, yeah, good to see you guys. Wardens down here, not, you know, standing around dead like the other guys. Okay. Hey there, Rosaloth. I'm totally here. Yeah, okay, so the battle's going well. Absolutely, right? You've managed to secure Gwalband from the forces of the enemy. The battle was fierce, but we were joined by a number of adventurers, and victory was ours. Hooray! Okay. I want to speak with Finaleg. I do, right? And wait, why are we doing this again? We're trying to make her attack us, and we're trying to force a pitched battle to drive them out of... That's right, I'm forgetting how genius the plan is. Okay. Finaleg is coordinating our defenses from Echad Garthadir, a position we have thus far managed to hold. Okay. It will be southwest of here and higher level of the city. I am fortunate that we have taken Gwalband. Now that the gate is under our control, I can gain access to the higher level more simply. Okay. All right. Climb up the hill. All right. Pass through the gate. Okay. Oh, yeah. No, I don't need to swim. We're good. No, I don't think I don't appreciate how cool it was that you took Guao Ben, because, you know, that was awesome. So, okay. Let's see, where's the hill? Isn't the hill right up here? Didn't I just like pass the hill? Alright. Let's go up the hill. Hey, dead Angmarim. That makes a nice change. Okay. I still don't understand the Rangers' plans here, but that's okay. I'm gonna go find a leg here. Oh, this looks nice. I mean, apart from all the corpses and the still burning fires and the charred... What happened over here? This is just like somebody's cooking fire got way out of control, right? And the Annuminas fire and rescue department had to come over here, and you know, this is like a 2-alarm Annuminas fire in the ruins, right? And they had to put it out. Or was this like a paintball fight gone amiss? Or what? A dragon? Just a really random soot mark on the side of the hill. I kind of like that. That's awesome. Anyway, see, now what did this used to be? Here I'm picturing myself. I'm half closing my eyes, right? And I'm looking out and imagining Annuminas in its glory, right? So here's this street, which would doubtless have been a nice smooth paved courtyard. It's run all to pieces since then, but that's okay. And here, so there's this sweeping stairway, wide sweeping stairway up onto this little pavilion up here, in the middle of which there is this little stone hutment with a big iron door. Okay, it's an entryway, obviously, to this big building also with no windows. Right, so now this looks like it could totally have been somebody's house, right? Or manor, or mansion, or family place. I don't really know, but okay. So this could just be, this is just, so maybe like the door ward would have stood here, right? And he would have, but boy, you know, I think in Annuminas, they must have had the skill of opening doors with their knees or something. Because, I mean, look at this. This door knob is waist high on a hobbit. Now, admittedly, I'm standing on a very small mound of rubble, but still, even at ground level, it's like waist high on a hobbit. The Numenorians, Elendil the Tall, for crying out loud, that dude was over 7 feet tall. He would have had to bend double. He would have had to kneel down to work the doors. Did they have secondary handles, like the tall people handles and the short people handles? And if so, why did they make short people handles? I don't even understand. But anyway, sorry. It's not that I'm getting distracted, because I'm pretty much undistractable. But, oh, here's a nice courtyard with trolls. This courtyard comes complete with trolls. And trees growing in nice cages. Okay. That's good. Alright, I'd explore more, but I might end up drawing aggro because... who knows? Good looking out there, Mr. Elder Angmarim Lookout. Hey guys, okay, I made it. Yeah. There we are. Back among the Dunedain. Hey everybody. Oh, see, Gryfflet had never been here at all. I thought he was. No, I guess I was just saving Annuminas for this very moment.
How can I be of service?
Hey, yeah, of course I still can't use it, but that's okay. That's alright. Dennis Meth. Okay, hey there, Final Egg. Yep, you're there with your maps. I hate to disturb you talking with the captain there, but you're sorry you must see Annuminas thus, taken by Angmar and corrupted by Amarthiel. I was mostly focused on how it's kind of in ruins and everything, and nobody actually lives here, or really kind of could at this point, but it's okay. I mean, I know you guys are all about Annuminas, and I respect that. We will all do our part to drive them out. Have we forgotten about the goal? right? Did Calenglad even tell you about Amarthiel and the Palantiria and everything? Okay, there's much to do. All right. No, I forget. I'm going along with the crazy plans of the Rangers. I mean, noble, brave, and worthwhile plans of the Rangers. Okay, you've had gains and losses. Not totally shocked to hear that in the past few days, but we cannot hold out forever. We are stretched too thin, and Amarthiel simply has too great a force. Solution: let's attack. A frontal attack. That's what we need. Every position we lose brings us one step closer to utter defeat. Right? We have need of your strength. I'm a hobbit, but that's okay. And the strength of your allies. Okay, they'll keep me healed. 2 of my rangers have repelled attacks on vital positions, and I worry that their strength may be faltering. Individually, like all by themselves? Guano has fought to drive the Angmarim from the port of Annuminas, north of here, upon the water. I fear she cannot withstand another assault. So too is the situation for Torhirion, currently on guard at Adanan, a small gate west of the docks that provides access to the western shore of Nenuiel. All right. Hurry and learn how stand their defenses. Okay, all right, sorry. Oh, syntactically confused there for a second. While I seek them out, meanwhile, I should casually defeat as many of the bow-wielding Angmarim archers that I see within the city. Okay, just hunt down archers. Okay. All right. Finally, like that seems simple enough. I will set about it. Hey guys, yeah, so I'm just gonna come. I'm looking for Torhirion and Guanil. Yeah, I think one of them's down here. Right? Am I right about that? I think so. Yes, indeed. I was pretty sure that was the case. Let's see. Now you're a captain, not a. Oh. Hey, one of you's green, huh? I see. Didn't see you. Should have stealthed myself. Got a little cocky there. No problem. Alright. If I'm going to be hunting down and killing 8 bowmen, I'm going to want to answer a lore question during that. So let's see. Okay. Let's see. So Maven has a question. Had a question. Okay. All right. Maven's going to start. I'm going to go to Maven's question next, and let me stealth myself before I forget again. Okay. Did the Valar send the Astari to Middle-earth with no means of communicating with them once there? I can't imagine the eagles were being used like the owls in Harry Potter. Yeah, actually, that would be really funny, right? Could you imagine, like, Manwe sending a howler, right, to Saruman? That would be great. Anyway, no, I can't imagine that. Was there simply no communication once the Astari were on their mission? Maven, I have to say, I honestly suspect so. That is, suspect that there was indeed no communication between the Istari and the Valar once they were here. That actually kind of seems to me to fit the whole atmosphere of the thing. I mean, when I think about the story that Tolkien wrote, the little sort of mini story that Tolkien wrote about the choice of the Istari, right, when the Valar were like taking volunteers essentially for the position, right, and Saruman, Kuramo sort of jumps forward right away and is like, ooh, me, and I shall take this in hand. And then they had to go and like beg Aloran. Manwe's like, I really want you to go, and he's like, actually, can I not? And a spider tamer. I don't want any part of her. There's a Bowman. Hey, Mr. Bowman. I'm sneaking up towards you. There we go. Anyway, so they had to ask Aloran, and he reluctantly agreed, and he didn't want to put himself forward. So yeah, the impression that I get is that basically they're going to be sort of on their own. That this is there's something sort of, there's something self-sacrificing in the choice that they make to come. So yeah, I actually do think that they are pretty much on their own. Certainly, you never get any hint in any of the stories about the White Council or anything like that they have access to any sort of bonus information or sort of extra information. I mean, it's like when they're trying to decide, like, what do we do about the necromancer and Mirkwood. Nobody's like, all right, hang on, I'll send an eagle, get Manwe's advice, see what he wants us to do here. In the Council of Elrond, right, when they're talking about, they even talk about the Valar, right? And Gandalf isn't like, oh man, let me tell you, I've heard from Manwe about this bunches of times, and he does not want anything to do with those rings of power, right? I mean, there's no kind of hint of that. So I do suspect that they really are out of touch. That it's just kind of taking this on themselves and being on their own is part of the job. Hey, Tarkirian. Okay, the gate of Adonan is still defended, Gryfflet. Right. The walls. I guess the wall is still mostly there. All right. Okay, this is still useful. Okay, you're welcome. So happy to visit. I'm just kind of doing the rounds. It has been some time since the last assault on the gate, and it's good to break up the boredom with a new face. The city will not long be an Angmar Ham, if you ask me. Oh, good. Okay, right. So, great cockiness. That's good. All right. No problem. Let's talk to Guano. Where is she? Oh, right. Yeah, she's way the heck over there. Okay. I guess I could actually swim there. Couldn't I? Yes, I could. Anyway, let's go down and hunt. Let's find some more bowmen. There's one. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Oops. Sorry. Overshot you there, Bowman. That's probably why I shouldn't check my questions while I'm attempting to sneak up on the enemy. That's cunning. That's very good. Absolutely. I distance myself on the stealth there. Okay. So the question was from Josh. This is a recent question from Josh Ramsey, who's a bit of a stickler for correct pronunciation. And since you just got one of your characters, a Rohan, you're interested in my take on how the name should be pronounced. Should we be using the Wessex pronunciation to pronounce the diphthongs? Or should we use the Mercian pronunciation Tolkien himself preferred as a native of the Midlands, saying Eorl as Earl and Merk as Mark? Okay, first of all, Josh, rule number one. Rule number one is don't follow my example if you are extremely interested in correct pronunciation. That's my first piece of advice. I really enjoy pronouncing things, but I am not very good at it. Or rather, I should say, my problem is, it's not that I lack skill in the pronunciation, it's just that I'm not very thorough. I'm very slapdash in my own application of things. By personality, as much as I love and admire Tolkien's works, by personality, I am not much at all like him. I am actually a lot more. The more I learn about Tolkien and C.S. Lewis, this was the last time I taught my Lewis and Tolkien class over at Signum. which was last fall, I think, or anyway, relatively recently. When the last time I taught my Lewis and Tolkien class, the many of the differences between C.S. Lewis and J.R.R. Tolkien really kind of were really kind of borne home to me, and I kind of realized even more firmly than I ever really realized before that I am not much like Tolkien in personality, but I am much more like Lewis. Lewis was a natural teacher. He was very outspoken. His strength was in, he was a wonderful, probably the best prose writer of all of the Inklings, in the sense of just writing just beautiful, lucid, easy to read prose. He was so good at explaining things. Tolkien, not good at explaining things. Tolkien wasn't a natural teacher so much as he was a natural poet. And anyway, Tolkien was so careful and meticulous, and just like everything that is the opposite of slipshod. Lewis was much more into winging it, right? He was oh good, I got enough bowmen. Excellent. Now where am I headed? Oh, up there. Yeah, let's swim. Yeah, anyway, so this is why, by the way, you may have heard that Tolkien disliked the Chronicles of Narnia. I have heard some people say that, Tolkien, so they've heard that Tolkien didn't like Narnia, and they sort of assume or believe that he didn't like Narnia because it was allegorical and he didn't like allegory. Sort of combining these two concepts, right? A, that he didn't like Narnia, and B, that he didn't like allegory, and kind of putting them together and saying, well, see, that must explain why. This is mistaken on several levels. On the one hand, it's mistaken because Narnia is not an allegory, and Tolkien wouldn't have mistaken it for an allegory. Both Lewis and Tolkien meant something very particular when they were talking about allegory, and Narnia is not it. So that's one thing. The real reason, though, when you look at comments that Tolkien made about Narnia or things that he said in his letters about Narnia, why he didn't like it is just because it's sloppy, right? It's sloppy in the sense that Lewis has put almost none of the effort that Tolkien put into creating a really self-consistent world. He just kind of chucks stuff in, right? Narnia is such a mishmash. I mean, you read The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, right? And you've got talking animals and fauns straight out of Greek mythology, and dwarves straight out of Norse mythology, and freaking Santa Claus, right? All together in one place, plus the crucifixion and resurrection. And Tolkien was just like, this hurts my head. I can't do it at all. It just bothered him so much. Anyway, my attitude is so much more like Lewis's. So Josh, I am so unmeticulous in my pronunciation. I'm wildly inconsistent in my Elvish pronunciation and my Anglo-Saxon. I believe my own Anglo-Saxon training was to pronounce according to the Wessex. So that's how I tend to do it. I will say, as you heard me say, Eorl instead of Earl. But I think if you want to be thorough and you want to choose, I would choose the Tolkien's one, the West Midlands, the Anglian, because I think that's, as you yourself said, it's what Tolkien himself kind of loved, and I have to think that that's how Tolkien would have said it. So that's what I'd go with. Hi, Guano. Yeah, it was a nice swim out here.
What can I do for you?
Final leg worries too much. Oh yeah, everything's fine, right? So here we have Calenglad, who's like, we must attack, take it all back at once. Then we got Final leg, who's like, we're about to be crushed, oh my gosh. And then you've got these other people who are like, everything's cool. What's going on? Just because there's Angmar right standing over there, everything's totally fine. No, I didn't expect it to be too great for you to handle. Now she's all offended, right? Okay. All right.
How can I be of service?
The Angmarim won't get past you, huh? Okay. I can see you are super fierce. How about your friend? Your friend over here looks less super fierce. Is he wounded? Or dead? Or just sleepy? No, he's not dead. He's just sleepy. Boy, did he fall asleep in it looks like he fell asleep reading a book and then just kind of keeled over sideways. All right, it's kind of adorable, actually. But you guys, yeah, you do your thing, Guano. All right. Okay, so let's swim after that relatively unenlightening conversation. Let us go back and talk to Final Egg then, I guess. You can't dive down underwater, can you? I kind of wish you could. That would be kind of fun. Anyway, all right. Let's see. Okay. Elvanui asks, a few weeks back I was asked about whether the Valar still influence events, right? I talked about that a little bit. I mentioned the winds bringing the black ships as evidence that it did still happen. Yep. It made you wonder about a couple things. One, Gandalf's claim to Frodo that Bilbo was meant to find the ring and not by its maker. Yes, remember he also says there was more than one power at work that day, right? Yep, and Gandalf's words to Bilbo in The Hobbit, you don't really suppose, do you, that all your adventures and escapes were managed by mere luck just for your sole benefit. So who is intervening in these instances? Okay, first, a general disclaimer. My general disclaimer, okay, I mean, most general disclaimer, I don't know, right? And we're guessing. I mean, if it doesn't say, then we're kind of guessing, and we just have to guess as well as we can based on the evidence that's there. And sometimes there's very little or even no evidence there to suggest what the correct answer to the question is. So that's my big disclaimer. Here's my medium-sized disclaimer, and that is I'm not sure that the question, who's involved, that is, the way I hear the question, right, is basically, is it Iluvatar intervening directly, or is it the Valar intervening? Right. That seems to me kind of, because it's obviously one of those two, right? It's got to be either the Valar or it's Iluvatar. But that question, did the Valar do it or did Iluvatar do it? I'm not sure that that's always a very meaningful question, if you see what I mean. The Valar are the... Hang on a second. Let me talk to Final Egg here. Hey, Final Egg. I'll come back to this in a minute. Okay, yeah, right. Despite their insistence, everything's under control. I'm sure they might have sounded really annoyed, even patronized, but I'm sure deep down they're thankful. Yeah, I'm sure too. There, Final Egg. There's more work to be done. I want you to go find some other people who don't want anything to do with you. Okay, we need a plan of... Oh, goody. Plan of attack. Yes, this is now we begin the great strategy of endeavoring to draw the attention of Amarthiel on ourselves. Yeah, okay. We've earned a small reprieve. Okay, that sounds optimistic. Battle still... Through my efforts, I haven't done anything. I hunted a few bowmen. That's true, but okay, I guess. That helps. Battle still rage throughout the city, but it will be some time before Amarthiel can regroup and challenge our forces with the same intensity. Good. Progress is being made, I guess. We must go on the offensive. Okay. You need information. Now information I can do. That's a burglarious kind of thing. Several positions throughout the city have changed hands numerous times in recent days, and it's my belief that these sites are of particular significance to Amarthiel. We fight to reclaim them whenever possible, but ownership of these sites is as fluid as the shoreline of Lake Nanuel, always in motion. Right. I would ask you to journey to these volatile areas and defeat the minions of Amarthiel there, for some of them are sure to carry orders containing the future plans of her armies. Oh, really? But the question, I have a question though. Can you read them? If I get you the orders, will they indeed be legible by you? I've run into this issue before with rangers, and I just thought I would check. If the Dunedain hold the site, look for the corpses of enemies killed in the fighting and search them for orders. We need orders from these 3 locations, from Gwauband, Chlor here, in front of the pools of Glingant, all right, and Menelbond on the highest level of the city. Okay, how hard can that be? All right, we will go find marching orders. So, okay, I was talking about Iluvatar and the Valar. So, as I was saying, I don't think that the question, who did it, Iluvatar or the Valar, is always a super meaningful question. And I know that that might seem like a cop-out, but what I mean is, the Valar are the delegates of Iluvatar. I mean, I think if we imagine that the situation is that, like, Iluvatar comes to the, hey, they're attacking, go get them, guys. Yeah, you're doing a great job. If we imagine that the situation is that, like, Iluvatar and the Valar get together and they're like, okay, there's a certain number of jobs to be done on Middle-earth here, right? Let's divvy up the labor. I'll do this and you do that and you guys take care of that. And Manwe, you got this covered over here? Okay, if so, I'll take care of this other thing. I mean, if we imagine that that's how Iluvatar operates, I think that we're mistaken. Both mistaken about the nature of the interaction between Iluvatar and Middle-earth, and Arda as a whole, and mistaken about the nature of the delegation that was given to the Valar in the first place. I just really don't think that that's how they operate. When Iluvatar sent the Valar, or sort of permitted the Valar to come into Arda and made them the appointed powers, as Tolkien calls them, that kind of means he left things mostly up to them, right? So there's the music, right? They have the music, they have sort of the idea, but they, from the beginning, even in the Aino Indole, they are, right, okay, I thought we were headed this way. Here's Chlor here. Hey, all right, so the Dunedain are here. I'm looking for corpses that may or may not have orders on them. There's a corpse. Oh, there we go. Look at that. They're just lying around. Ah, see, look. And I'm helping to stop litter as well. That's good. Okay. I should re-stealth myself. Okay. Do I want to cross the bridge? I don't think I do want to cross the bridge. Let me see. I want to go... I want to go back this way. All right. Okay, so like I said, I don't think it's, I don't think that Iluvatar is up there being like, all right, I'm going to leave some things to them, but, not most of them or whatever. So if the Valar are in charge of something, does that mean that Iluvatar, it was their idea and not Iluvatar's idea? I mean, again, I don't think that the distinction is quite as sharp there as sometimes people who ask me that question seem to kind of imply or suggest. So that's one thing that I would say. Or that's my other disclaimer. As for like those specific instances, if you ask the question in a different way and say, hang on a second, while I'm up here. All right, so here is, aha, see, this is a big old, this monument is just like we saw someone's just like this up in Angmar, right? Not to mention, of course, the banners. which we've also seen before in Angmar, but okay, sorry. Just looking around, Mr. Angmarim Priest. I have to tell you, the whole skeletons in cages on poles look has to go. That's just not okay, really, from any perspective. But, all right. So, where are we going next? Back to Guauband, yeah. All right. Back down where we came from. Good to see you guys. Oh, you're chasing me now. That's okay. I can escape. Hey, Dunedain, yep. Yep, they're chasing me. Alright, I'm just going to follow the road here. Am I still in combat mode? Why am I still in combat mode? Because that guy's fighting him up there? It's really annoying. I want to go back into stealth. Can I do that, please? Okay, there we go. Thank you. All right. Sorry. I had to go chase back and hunt down that guy who was chasing me so that I could exit combat mode. Now, as for the specific, another way to think about that question, though, is specifically in the passages that, sorry, what was your name, Elvanui asks about. Who do I think Gandalf is referring to? Well, and of the two, The Hobbit is super easy. Super easy. Because the Valar aren't even really in the picture in The Hobbit. So my answer to that is pretty simple. And it's, oh wait, where am I? Oh, I know where I am. Okay, right. Where are the trolls? Somebody just off the trolls that are usually hanging around in here? Okay, so, the Valar aren't really in the picture in The Hobbit. So I feel very confident in saying Gandalf is referring to Iluvatar directly here. Or I would say he's talking about providence. And providence is something that is kind of at work. The Valar themselves are the instruments of providence, which is another reason why it's not always a very sensible thing to ask about, the sort of either-or questions. There we are. Okay, well, that was easy. Let me explain what I mean by providence. Okay, well, I can't explain it too fully, or else I'm going to launch into one of my favorite digressionary topics, which is The Consolation of Philosophy by Boethius, one of the greatest, most influential works in the history of Western thought, which nobody reads anymore in the modern world, but is nevertheless one of the coolest, best, most influential works in all of Western history. But and Tolkien read it and liked it a lot, and I think it pretty heavily influences his own thought in several different ways. And I see lots of evidence of Boethius' influence on Tolkien. But anyway, I'm not going to go there entirely, but providence is essentially the plan of God. So God doesn't just see things and respond to them as if he existed in time like everybody else, right? God is never surprised by events. God never has to improvise, right? Because God sees all of space and time stretched out before him all at once, while he himself is operating outside of time. And what that means is that his plan, when he created the world, he doesn't just sort of let the thing go and then see what the heck happens, right? That's not how God operates. Instead, the plan of providence is like the working out of all of history in time. It is providence that Gandalf is pointing to. Providence that we see at work all through The Hobbit, with all those references to luck, which accumulate until clearly at the end, as Gandalf points to in those very final pages, there was something else at work here, right? There's so many remarkable strokes of luck that happen. It's almost like the whole story was orchestrated this way to begin with, as indeed it was. Wait, does that invalidate Bilbo's choices and say that no, it doesn't? those choices, what the people involved in the story did and how they chose was part of that. Was their own free choices was part of that story as it was being told, as it was unfolding, or rather as it was unfolded in the mind of God immediately. But anyhow, it is clearly, I think, in a Hobbit context, it's clearly the revelation of providence that we're seeing and we're coming to understand over the course of that book. And I think very clearly what Gandalf is talking about. So it's definitely not the Valar that he is referring to.
Might I take a moment of your time?
Okay, Calenglad says that we should return. Yep, all right, and we should go at once. Right? Okay. If the information we've received can be trusted, Amarthiel may have made a crucial error. Oh wait, I totally forgot to read what it said. Oh shoot. I'm totally distracted. See, it's Boethius. I'm distracted by Boethius. Okay, she's made an error. Some sort of error. If we seize this opportunity, the Dunedain may once more have the advantage. Okay, right. You'll return to me the orders I collected, Calenglad, so you could read them. Darn it, I can't believe I forgot to read that. All right, but I've got to bring the sheaf of papers to Calenglad, and I can't, I believe, take the stable master. No, I can't.
Greetings.
That's fine. Gonna anyway. Okay. All right, so, but what about the other one? Telling the ring that Frodo was meant to find, telling Frodo that Bilbo was meant to find the ring and not by its maker. I am tempted to say that Gandalf is pointing to a working out of providence there as well, just because of the nature of the event that he's describing. But again, the drawing of lines, right? Does that mean that, like, none of the Valar could have had any hand in that moment at all? Well, no. I mean, do I think that the wind that brings the fleet with black sails up the river is like part of the plan of Providence? Yes. Well, by definition, everything is part of the plan of Providence. So yes, I certainly do believe that that's something that Iluvatar is orchestrating. Do I think that Manwe had a hand in it? Absolutely. I think that it's the breath of Manwe that blows the fleet up from the south. That's like a big part of Manwe's job, right, is to be the instrument of providence, as indeed Aragorn is the instrument of providence, and Gandalf is the instrument of providence. Again, this is why, in the end, I don't think it's ultimately a meaningful question, like who was it, this or that. But I suspect when Gandalf is pointing to, like, more than one power was at work, I suspect he's talking about Iluvatar. I suspect he's talking about providence. That's my concept, but okay, all right. We've received information that could change our fortunes. I don't know what it is, but okay. One of our rangers, a good man named Torquirion, hey, yeah, met him, right? Overhearing a number of Angmarim speaking near Adanon, the city gate, yep, been there too. They spoke of Mordrambor, one of the Black Númenóreans sworn to Amarthiel, a fell sorcerer. Mordrambor is one of her cruelest lieutenants, and Torquirion knew to listen closely. All right, so he got to spy on important people. So he heard them speaking of some urgent errand Mordrambor plans for tomorrow night. He will travel with a small retinue beneath the light of the moon to How-the-Lendil. What he hopes to accomplish there, Torquirion did not learn, but he learned enough. Okay, all right. This is our opportunity. So what was in the orders? Calenglad doesn't even seem to care. So that whole trip to Annuminas was completely worthless because here's Calenglad like, forget it. Anyway, whatever. This other important thing happened, and I don't care about anything that just went on. All right, Calenglad, I'm still bearing with you, man, but I got to tell you, I am just not sure. Okay, but let's capture him. Okay, I'm game. Let's spring the trap. I'm ready. Let's capture one of her trusted lieutenants. That sounds awesome. Night lies.
The Rangers of the North have learned that Mordrambor, a Black Númenórean deep in the councils of Amarthiel,
Right.
is traveling to How-the-Lendil with a small retinue.
Yeah, I heard that.
Hoping to seize Mordrambor,
Right.
the Rangers stage an ambush.
Let's stage an ambush. Yeah. Okay. All right. No, I didn't mean to bow. I just wanted to get down on one knee like they are. But I guess I'm the right height anyway. Hey, Tadon, what's going on? Tadon?
What do you need?
Ta-da! Okay. Calenglad speaks highly of me. If we are successful this night, he will speak more highly still. Yeah, the question is how highly am I speaking of him, which is, between you and me, ta-da, not that highly at this particular moment. He's not a good listener. Calenglad needs to put on his listening ears, I think. But let's go with this. Mordrembor has entered the tomb of Elendil and will surely emerge in a moment with his servants. I bet he was in there looking for the Silithar, and I bet he's going to be super disappointed because I already got it. If we can retain the element of surprise, my brethren and I will be more than a match for him. Okay, good. So present yourself to this lieutenant and lure him to this. So I'm bait? You brought me here to be bait for the lieutenant of Amarthiel, and then you guys are going to jump him? Okay. We will fall upon him and take him prisoner, and then we shall see what this trusted servant of Amarthiel may be able to tell us. Okay. He is in no way weak. He is in every way strong, I guess. So, okay, I'll be in danger, and you won't be able to help me. Tell him something that will make him curious enough to follow. Okay, so I suppose the, hey, look over here, or come catch me if you can, like the, you can't catch me, I'm the gingerbread man approach, probably not what you're looking for. Perhaps you have found a weapon that can destroy him. Oh, I should tell him that. Okay, right, because that nothing makes somebody chase right after you than like, I have a weapon that will destroy you. Come here, right? Okay, good plan, Tadan. Yeah, all right. No point stealthing myself, I guess. Hey, look at this paving stones. It's the sun. Oh, it's upside down, right? It's the white tree, isn't it? It's the tree. Supposed to be looked at from this way. So notice how these paving stones are oriented. Oh no, half of them are, I guess. Oriented from the inside. Those are oriented from the outside. Okay. So that would be kind of interesting if everything was oriented to like meet the eyes of one emerging from the tomb, right? That's kind of curious in its way. Hey there, Mordrembor. Yeah. Good. Nice to see you, Amarthiel's lieutenant. Why should you not strike me down, little hobbit? Because... Actually, hang on. I'll think of something. His mocking smile wavers when I tell him that I have brought a mighty artifact to the other end of the causeway and it spells his doom. Yeah, that's a good one. That's guaranteed to make him come this way. I have a mighty artifact that spells your doom, so run right over his way. Almost immediately return. Oh, not the artifact. The mocking smile. Got it right. Yeah. Sorry, a whole pronoun issue there. I admire thy courage, though it be foolish to the extreme. I will go with thee to this artifact to give thee the death thou seemest to crave. You'll come with me because I just told you, if you come this way, you'll be destroyed. Oh man, you're fast. Yeah, I'm glad you're amused by my foolish courage. There's no trinket that can harm you, huh? Right, they all say that. Oops. Yeah, it's very small. But now, yeah. Okay, villain. If you try anything, you will die. My artifact was actually... Sorry, didn't mean to talk to you. Thy time will come soon enough, huh? Okay. My artifact, I guess, was my ranger allies? Oh, you're waiting for me. I see. Alright, good job. Very valiantly knelt, you guys. Seriously. Yeah. Well, my work here is obviously done. I told him a very transparent lie, and then we all knelt around looking at him very sternly. Good. Good plan. Hey, well, this seemed like a stroke of good fortune. Sure. You know, Calenglad, you guys need help around here. I'm telling you. The Rangers of Tinadir, they've got issues, Calenglad. They really do. What you need is a good paralegal around here.
How can I be of service?
Your heart leaps for joy, because I'm sure this is going to turn out super well. We've taken one of Amarthiel's trusted servants captive, and it was... we did it against all odds, I've got to tell you. I mean, that was a well-fought struggle right there. She will feel the loss. Yeah. Oh, good, because it's all about pushing Amarthiel's forces from Annuminas once and for all, Calenglad. Keep your eye on the prize. That's what I say, Calenglad. Okay, your decision was the right one. Okay, good. Yes, now 100% confident that you've been doing the right thing all along, Calenglad. Closer to retaking the city than we've ever been, because that's the goal, right? There's nothing else at issue here. When we have done so, we will take the Palantir from Amarthiel and put an end to the threat of Angmar forever. So once we've retaken Annuminas, then we'll proceed on to the secondary objective of reclaiming the Palantir from Amarthiel and putting an end to the threat of Angmar forever. Yeah, Calenglad, you are kind of missing the
What can I do?
proportion of the whole thing. Okay. Show the orders to the prisoner. He will tell us their meaning willingly, or he will be made to tell us their meaning. Oh, boy. Okay, do I get to torture a translation of the orders? Because you can't read them. Can you, Calenglad? That's what you're trying to say to me? That you don't understand the orders that I got for you, right? I mean, it's okay, right? If Candaith, I think, could probably refer you to a good online course on black speech, which might help in moments like this. And perhaps if you'd thought ahead a little bit more, you could have educated yourself first. But no, it's okay. I'm sure the Lieutenant of Amarthiel will be happy to explain everything to us very forthrightly. My people have prepared a prison, and Ranger Tadan has volunteered to guard him. Tadan is a good man, a strong man, and will see Mordrembor's bonds remain unyielding. Good. Okay, bring the sheaf of papers and demand that he tell us their meaning, or else I'll unleash some undisclosed artifact upon you. Good, yeah. All right. Sounds like a plan, Calenglad. All right, I'm going to need to go before too long, but let's go confront Mordrembor here. See what that friendly chap has to say for himself here before we call it a week here this week. Anyway, did I answer the Iluvatar and Valar question? I hope so. And again, I know I'm always feel a little bit bad. Again, I don't want it to sound like I'm just trying to avoid the question, but I really do think that where the lines are drawn, the whole either-or question about who did it, or who was responsible for it, I really do think that essentially it misses the point in a significant way in the end. But okay, so Lyrdon lives on one side and Mordrembor lives on the other side. The one half of this building is a prison and the other is like ambassadorial guest quarters. Hello, it's Tadan. Hey, Tadan, what do you have to say here? Filled with amazement. I know, right? That was awesome. We may have changed the course of the battle for Annuminas, and for the better, he adds. Good. Thanks for clarifying. He doesn't seem very happy. Does he seem unhappy? I can see why you gave the other room to Lyrdon. I mean, this is not all that nice, right? They chain you to a column? Yeah. Let's see. Just looking at your outfit here. Is that part of your outfit or is that part of your bonds? Not really sure. Yeah, hey, Mordrembor. Okay. I'm the foolish burglar. Yep, that's me. Who's the fool? Really, at the end of the day. You know the number of thy days and they are few. That's a good line. I like that. Let us speak a while. Yeah, sure. Or fall beneath the tread of Angmar. Who knows? Could happen.
What hast thou brought to me? Writings in the black speech, most beautiful of all the tongues. Now, okay. I get that you would be pro-black speech, Mordrenborg, but come on. Let's not pretend, right? The black speech isn't beautiful. Nobody thinks the black speech is beautiful. And what's more, I don't think that's the compliment that a black Numenorian would give for the black speech, right? I mean, surely a proponent of the black speech, an advocate for the black speech, if they were praising it, they wouldn't call it beautiful. They would call it bold or strong or, virile or something like that, but they wouldn't call it beautiful. Anyway, okay, nope, can't read the words. Entirely dependent upon your honesty and generosity to help me read this. You weep for thy ignorance, foolish burglar, but I will take pity on thee. For thy struggle will soon end in pain and grief. I will tell thee what great Amarthiel plans for the wretches who still cling still to this lowly city. See, they don't even care about this city. I will delight in foretelling thy demise. Absolutely, this is going well. Okay. These words sing of thy death and of the deaths of all the Dunedain, foolish burglar. The pages tell Amarthiel's loyal servants to await the return of her emissaries who have traveled to many lands seeking new allies. Okay. She has sent emissaries to many lands seeking allies. Okay. The waters of the lake have been as a road for Amarthiel's emissaries, and they carry gold with which to buy the loyalty of new servants. Cold-hearted men on an island far to the northeast. Oh yeah, right. The treasure hunters. Sure. Okay, the bandits. The Gauradine of the northwestern hills, fierce and savage. Right. Yeah. They were ever ready to the hand of Angmar, one would think. The Kergrim, great beasts that stalk among the crypts of long-dead kings and look rather like frogs. Okay. When these servants return from across the great water, such a number of new allies sworn to the Iron Crown will come in their train that none shall hope to prevail against them. All right, so I've got to find her emissary. Well, I'm certainly not going to be able to get to all of those places here before the end of the day today, so I think I'm going to accept your challenge here, Mordrenborg, and I'm going to go hunt down these emissaries, and I'm going to prevent them making allies with any of those sketchy peoples, and then we'll see whose days are numbered and, who is being prepared for destruction. Right, Mordrenborg? Speak to thy friend if thou must. His days will be shorter than thine, huh? Okay. All right, I know. I do not think we'll be feeling the sting of their blades and the bite of their teeth, but okay. All right, thanks, Mordrenborg. You've been awfully helpful. I really appreciate it. And thank you, Tadan. All right, I'm going to say thanks to everybody for joining me here today. By the way, I am... we still haven't set a date, but we're getting closer. I'm hoping to have a session where I'm going to go down to Turbine's offices and meet with Chris Pearson and Mike Trout, and we're going to do a broadcast again, a sort of a Q&A session and discussion as we've done before. So I'm really looking forward to getting back down to Turbine and meeting with them. I'm going to see. So I just wanted to ask you to invite you guys to be thinking about it. If there are things you would like me to ask or that you'd like to see me talk about with Chris Pearson or with somebody else down at Turbine, I'm open to suggestions. I'm hoping that that's going to happen sometime in the next couple of weeks. If it doesn't happen in the next 2 weeks, it would have to wait until the second half of June. But hopefully by the end of June, we should be able to work that out. So just want to let you know that that's coming, and I'm excited about that. So thanks very much, everybody. Anyway, thank you for joining me and Gryfflet again today. Tune in next week when we travel all around the lake, do lots of swimming, and meet lots of sketchy people. Thank you very much, everybody, and I will see you guys next week. Bye now.